Does God really show interest in the personality, or God is only interested in the spiritual aspect of us? Does Bible have answers?
God is interested in our whole being, in our whole self, because He did not create only the spiritual aspects.
Absolutely.
He gave us a body, He gave us a mind, He gave us family life, He gave us work life, He gave us everything that we have today, really. So He's interested in all of it. And He's interested in transforming our lives through and through every aspect.
Transformation is beyond recognition. It's like, you start somewhere and the end point is so different from where you started.
Correct.
So in that scenario, is it possible for somebody to start the transformation process on their own? Do I do it on my own? Do I take the initiative? Like, we read in a lot of self-help books, you need to exercise your will, the determination, the resolution. Will that take you far in transformation process?
People think transformation involves just changing your actions, your behavior, and whatever you do. But really, our problem is deeper. People think you can transform yourself by just doing a number of things because they don't see the true nature of the problem and how deep it is. Our problem is very deep, Our problem has to do with not just our behavior, our actions, it has to do with our very heart, the core of our being, or our spirit, as the Bible calls it, And so, unless there is a transformation deep down there, you cannot have real and lasting transformation on the outside in your behavior, in your actions, and so on. It would be like going to the doctor. And the doctor would ask you, well, what is the problem? And you say, well, I have a headache and I have pain here and pain there. And imagine if the doctor simply gives you pain medication and say, well, you go home, just take the pain medication, that's it. And just in that case, he would just be treating the symptoms of the problem. But the problem may be deeper. The pain, the headache may be an indication of a very deep problem on the inside. If a good doctor will not only see the symptoms, but he will see the root of the problem.
Absolutely.
And he will address that problem, you see. But unfortunately, we human beings get easily carried away treating the symptoms,
Okay.
We say, okay, let's read some self-help books. Let's listen to some inspirational talks. Let's just motivate ourselves to change. And it's all good. The desire to change is very good. Some people don't even have
the desire.
to change.
Okay.
So at least you're better off if you want to change and you're doing something about it. But the thing is, the Bible teaches that our problem is so bad and so deep. I'm talking about the problem of every human being.
Everybody.
Every single person, whether good or bad.
Good or bad.
They have a problem deep down inside of them, and it has to do with their nature. The Bible says the heart is very deceitful. Who can understand how deceitful it is? Jeremiah 17:9. And the Bible says that the only true transformation can take place when God changes your heart.
Absolutely.
Not when you change it yourself, because it's so bad you can't change it yourself. That's what the Bible
He
teaches.
exchanges. Yeah, He gives His heart to us.
Exactly.
Absolutely.
Sometimes they say when your heart is blocked, physically speaking, you go to the doctor, you do an operation, you remove the block. But our heart is so bad, it needs to be completely removed, and a new heart needs to be put in. That's why God says in Jeremiah, in Ezekiel, I will give you a new heart. I'll put a new spirit within you, and I will cause you to walk in my ways.
Okay.
And so only God can do that innermost, deep down heart change.
Okay.
Nobody can do it themselves.
It's a self-help approach to changing. It's very cosmetic. It's superficial. And somewhere, apart from the fact, even a person who is earnest to change, like you rightly said, does not want to admit, right? Is there something to do with, not being able to recognize this? So how do we bring people to a point of saying, okay, the heart requires a heart change? So how does one do that?
Like you say, people don't like to admit it. And that's, again, you think of medical example. Your person may have shortness of breath, extreme sweating, palpitations, fast heartbeat. And you tell them, listen, you better have a heart checkup, maybe something's wrong with your heart. They'll get upset with you.
They don't want to
They
hear
don't
that.
want to hear that they have a problem as serious as a heart problem.
Yes.
They would like to hear that the
Okay.
problem is very simple and
Okay.
it can be solved very easily.
Okay.
Just rest a bit, sleep a
Okay.
bit,
Okay.
take some
Okay.
medication, it's fine.
Okay.
No, when you say, no, the problem
Okay.
may be very serious, anybody's going to get upset. But the best thing we can do is try to convince them that the problem is serious, get it checked, do what you need to do to solve the root problem. So it will take a while convincing. We are by nature defensive about our problems.
And we don't want to
We
face
don't
it.
want to admit it. But then, God, I believe, will lead us to see our true nature of the problem if we are really interested. If you say, God, I want to know what my problem really is, God will help us to see the root of our problem and help us to admit it so that we can do something about it.
But you said a very interesting point now. You said, God is willing to do the heart change.
That's right.
Okay? It's not so complicated. It's not.
It's impossible for us, but it is easy for God.
It is actually a very easy deal.
That's right.
What God is saying is, there's no need to be fearful.
Correct.
Right? It's very simple. All you have to do is the hard bit I have done.
Correct.
I'm willing to trade in.
Correct.
I'm willing to take the heart that is deceitful and who can understand it. But why is it so difficult for people? Is it because we have not presented the good news right? Is it not easily presented as an option? Or have we as Christians not seen the possibility of what there can be in this heart change? Why do you think? To me it appears, it's a very simple act of saying, once you understand, let's say somewhere down the line of, struggling and growing and trying to change, you meet with a lot of resistance. Like you said, some people don't want to face it out of fear.
Yeah.
And let's say somebody has gone through the struggle of having really experienced the frustration of not being able to grow, right, or change. Yeah. Is it also to do with the fact that we have not presented it? Have we failed to present it to people as an option, or have we not had the confidence to see that if a Christian cannot present with confidence, there's going to be no change in the community? I mean, your take on that?
Definitely. Our presentation of the gospel and, like I said, identifying the problem, that is all involved, because many times in Christian preaching in churches, they have addressed the superficial problem.
Correct.
Say, change the way you dress.
Absolutely.
Change the way you, speak. Just something on the outside. Make your sleeve length correct. Take off the jewelry. Different people have their own rules.
Again, the cosmetic change.
Yeah, cosmetic. Don't wear too much makeup. Or I don't know
Okay.
what in terms of Christian
teaching
things to do.
Correct.
Focus on the outside.
Correct.
As though that is going to produce any change on the inside. But it's the opposite. Christian change happens from inside out.
So we haven't understood.
Yeah, so the presentation also has been wrong.
Correct.
And the presentation is wrong because the understanding is wrong.
Okay. And that is why we need preachers like you.
Many preachers are preaching
Correct.
this. This is not a preacher's idea. This is not my idea, certainly. This is the idea of the Bible. Simple biblical preaching will bring out all these truths.
Correct.
The problem is sometimes,
We've complicated.
yes, in the churches, simple Bible preaching doesn't happen. Ideas of human beings are preached. Experiences of human beings are preached. Whereas if you simply open the Bible, read a verse and teach on it, and you keep doing that, the Bible will cover all these important things.